One of the most exciting times I had while working at Walt Disney World was during the Year of a Million Dreams, which I think was the coolest thing that Disney has ever done for a year-long theme. I had the incredible pleasure when I was working at Walt Disney World of working during the celebration that they called the Year of a Million Dreams. In fact, this thing actually went so well that they extended it and it almost went out to 2 years. It was just a really neat publicity campaign and it was awesome to be a part of it. Disney decided that because they were known as the place where dreams come true, that they were going to work extra hard to make all these different things happen that people might not expect and might not be ready for, but that would help create magical moments. They created a group of people called the Dream Squad, and they pulled people from all sorts of various departments. In fact, we had a couple PhotoPass photographers that ended up as part of it. And this group of people would go around, and their whole job was to make magical moments. They actually had a whole system in place that would randomly determine some of where they went and what they did and what they gave out, and they were given all sorts of different unique prizes to be able to give out. Everything from Mickey ears with clouds and said the Year of a Million Dreams on them. They had special lanyards that they gave out with fast passes on them. They had pins, and yes, I actually got a couple of them. As an example, you would get a fast pass lanyard. This is one for Hollywood Studios, and you could see all the different rides on there. I didn't use mine because I wanted to keep it. But you might randomly get that. You might randomly be given a lanyard for the Year of a Million Dreams with a couple pins on it. And there were a couple different designs of this. Just randomly out of the blue. As I remember, I got off of Buzz Lightyear one time. And here's the Dream Squad handing out lanyards and pins. And wow, hey, cool. Not expecting that. It just made for some really neat surprises. It was for the Year of a Million Dreams that Disneyland and Walt Disney World built their suites that people got to stay in. At Walt Disney World, it was the Cinderella suite up in the castle. And just an incredible place, and they would randomly pick one family each night to be able to stay at this thing. I never got to even see the suite, but I've got friends that have been up there and taken pictures, and oh, how cool is that? It's still there, it still gets used occasionally. No, you can't pay to rent it. Although I just heard they started this $12,000 tour that'll let you look at it. I don't know, I want to pay that much to see it, but just a really cool idea to, hey, let's stay inside Magic Kingdom overnight in this really fancy suite. That would have been totally cool. But as part of the huge emphasis, they really tried to encourage all of the cast members to come up with ways to create magical moments to help dreams come true. And, you know, a dream may be a dream you didn't know you had. It may be something minor. But to find ways to be able to kind of create this atmosphere of the unexpected and the special, and yes, even the spectacular. They created parades for the guests to be able to take part in, so they could say that they had been in the parade. They created a couple extra parades where they had grand marshals, so that way more guests could be grand marshals of the parade, and the first families of the day to help open the parks and open the rides. They took several things that they were already doing and incorporated those into it as well. For example, waking up Tinkerbell at the shop that's no longer there anymore. Or being able to be the first one to ring the bell at the fire station. My son got to do that one morning. You would have all sorts of other unexpected moments. You had some of the stores that would actually create hide-and-seek games for guests and kids to be able to play in the store during the first part of the day. Kind of a special little deal. And anytime you got caught in one of these moments, they would actually give you a certificate to help you remember that you did it. And I've actually got a couple of my kids' certificates here. These are for finding team wildlife. And I will be completely honest with you, I don't remember what on earth this was for. But each of my kids got one. And it was just one of the games that they had created at one of the stores or experiences there at Disney. This was actually at Epcot. So that's why I'm kind of like, well, I would think Animal Kingdom, but I wish I had made a note on there of what it was exactly that they had done when they did this. Just kind of a neat moment to walk back and say, hey, that was really cool. I wasn't expecting that. It was a way to emphasize creating magic. With a lot of us more experienced cast members, they actually gave us blank certificates and said, hey, if you can come up with something spontaneous, go for it. Get creative. Let guests have something that, or experience something they wouldn't get to do otherwise. So I actually carried around a few blanks, and if I had come up with something on the fly, then I had a little card to be able to fill out and give to them. It meant that as a photographer, we were trying to find creative ways to add to the experience. Now, PhotoPass at the time was actually pretty new anyway, so we were constantly experimenting and playing around and trying new stuff. But it really just kind of further encouraged us in that, to what could we do to make a moment where they're just taking a picture and make it extra special and maybe come up with something that otherwise they wouldn't have gotten to do. Some pose that we had never tried before, maybe nobody had ever tried before. Or to do something different, to go somewhere that we hadn't shot. Maybe it meant, because as a photographer, we weren't always locked into a specific spot. It meant that if we saw a guest in need or something happening, we had a little more freedom to be able to go and respond to that and to be able to possibly help and to do something. I can remember one time when I had a kid that had an issue, and let's just say that their clothes really weren't wearable at that point. Well, I had the freedom as a photographer to be able to take that family, okay, let's go into one of the shops, let's get you a change of clothes. We took the old clothes, put them in a bag, had merchandise help me a little bit, and then we turned it into a game with the kid. So not only did they get a new change of clothes for nothing, we didn't charge them for that, but then they also get a Magic Moment certificate to remember the game that they played while they were making this outfit up for the kid. And we turned it into something that was fun and memorable. So instead of having this horrible moment, well, now they've got a good moment. Trying to find creative ways to be able to do that. Now, a lot of photographers don't necessarily have that freedom as much anymore because the PhotoPass photographers have been so busy and become so popular that they typically have lines, and if they were to take off, you're going to have a lot of upset guests. But at the time, because we were new and people were still learning what PhotoPass was, we had a lot more ability to do some things like that. It also meant that we might experiment with some pictures. At the time, magic shots were really kind of a new and growing thing. Kodak had done the one where you hold Tinkerbell in your hand before, but we created a series of magic shots to be able to start creating something new. Now, they're so well established that, again, in many cases, they're almost expected. But at the time, a magic shot was something that many people didn't know what it was or how it worked. And so we would pose them on a bench with this empty space next to him and tell him to look surprised next to him and then put Mickey in. And they had no clue that we were going to do that. It made it a lot of fun to be able to kind of create this really a magical picture that they weren't expecting. To find different ways to incorporate that into what we were doing was really what the Year of a Million Dreams was all about. I love that it encouraged all the cast members to go above and beyond what they did normally, to really look at the guests and to see what they could do to make it special. Now, Disney has always done that, but it was like a whole different level with the Year of a Million Dreams. I do have actually several things from that whole time. I've got another lanyard hiding up there with pins. And then I actually, one of my favorites, I don't want to pull it out because it's kind of buried here, but you can see I've actually got a set of Mickey ears here. This is one of the first sets that actually had lights on it, but that was actually designed for the Year of a Million Dreams. And it's hiding down there. And then my Tinkerbell pins that are here. As I drop some. These were actually another way that we were encouraged to help make magic. So these actually came from the Year of a Million Dreams. At least they may have predated that, but this was my first real experience with them. Where we were given a set of Tinkerbell pins, and it was a way to help people for making dreams come true. We looked for people who had done something nice and kind and extraordinary, then wanted to thank them. So we were looking for the guests to do special things too. And then we come up and say, hey, that was really cool. I got something special for you. Here's a set of pins. There's one for you for doing such a really neat thing. And there's one for you to find somebody to give it away to for doing something else. And it was another way for us to encourage the dream making process, not just for the cast members, but for the guests as well. It was just a really neat promotion that way. We also had deals where we were trying to come up with ideas for other things that we could have done. One of the ideas that several of us had that we never did get to carry out, I wish we had, we always thought it would be really cool to pick a family or two for the day and say, hey, we're going to give you a private photographer who's going to follow you around and get your pictures that you'd like all day. Take pictures on the rides and in places that we don't ever have photographers. So say if you hopped on Dumbo, they would hop on the Dumbo car in front of you and be able to take pictures of you while you were riding. You know, and Splash Mountain, maybe get some pictures that way. And several of us thought this would be really cool to have families that have a private photographer for, say, 2, 3, 4 hours who would just sit there and add pictures onto their PhotoPass for nothing. It never did get carried out, but I still think that would have been a really cool idea. I actually did the same kind of thing for several friends of mine, and it would have been a neat option. We had other ideas too that we never got to carry out, but that was my favorite one I really wish we had done. So that's kind of a look back at the Year of a Million Dreams. Did you get to experience it? I'd love to know what your experiences were. I loved running into the Dream Squad, both as a cast member and as a guest when I was in the park, and oh, hey, look, they're going to go give out stuff. Even if I didn't get anything, it was fun to watch people get the stuff and just react. And you never knew when it was going to happen. It was just such a fun time at the parks. So I'd love to hear your memories of it, and if you got a dream come true during that time and what it was, or if you were a cast member, what did you do that was special during that? I'd love to hear your stories. I also want to give a huge shout out to my patrons for supporting me and helping me to make videos like this and so many more. I've got a number of patrons that signed on last month, and so I want to give shout outs to all of my new patrons for their financial support. There's Crazy Chill SB Life, Leanne Harkey, Michael Carr, Jussie Turonin, Erwin, and I'm sorry if I messed this up, Erwin, Merkestian. I hope I didn't massacre that too badly. Jose G, Jesse Kane, Bruce Newman, and Jen Marie Steiber. Thank you so much for signing on as new patrons. I so much appreciate your support, and they get to help me do so much I wouldn't get to do otherwise, like this trip coming to Disney here shortly. If you want to know more about Patreon and supporting me or other ways you can support, don't forget to check the description below. There's also links to my Facebook fan pages, the group pages, Discord, Reddit, my gear, merchandise, and so much more. So don't forget to check that. Thank you so very much for watching. God bless. Just all of a sudden, out of the blue, here's these people saying, hey! You know, ow, man, I got an itch in my ear. That hurts. Okay. If you want to know whenever I have a new video out, well, hey, make sure you hit that button right there and subscribe. If you want to see another video right now, well, I've got a great one right here for you. And if you want to be like these wonderful people here and help support me financially on Patreon, well, check out that link right there and it'll take you to it. Thanks so much and God bless.